There are the players. They are
Kappa.
getting ready. Kappa, indeed. And of course, Dandelion helping us out as usual, and Pal is around. He's lurking. I see him, admitting the tournament as usual. So we're going to get Game King and Kacper started off in just a moment, making sure everybody is ready and queuing in to the first matchup. Kacper on the blue coin. Mogwai, what do you think the leadoff is for Kacper here?
It's definitely not going to be Brewer. I'd say you could go with Calvade. Calvade is a deck that you can potentially like push on blue. It's not that bad. But the thing is, it's the most important deck here for Kacper. Kacper has to find a way to get a win with John Calvade. That is Game King's target, and that is what he's really strong against. His Ethne looks really fine-tuned for it. His Croc on Crate with the Mandrake tech just seems really, really solid. Like, generally, you want to pick the likes of Great Swords if you want pure power out of Skellige, but Veterans does enjoy a much better matchup in that sense. So it's going to be really intriguing. I think Game King's toughest matchup will definitely be the King Full Test. So it'll be interesting to see when Kacper opts to go with that. But I definitely don't expect Brew for him. While I do expect Game King has a lot of freedom here in going second.
I think so, and Game King, I think this is a fairly uphill battle for Kacper because we're talking, Game King was talking about sort of a soft target on Alchemy, but he also does have a soft targeting on Full Test with that Elven Blade addition to the shoot list, as well as being able to drop Coral into those giant officers for the swap.
There it is.
He does have the Mandrake as well. He has a couple of resets which are going to basically land on gigantic units on the swap. But here we go, folks. Gwent Open number 7 leading off. Nilfgaard Alchemy on Kasper's side going up against Skellige Veterans for Game King. This is it, my friends. Let's get this weekend started.
Kacper having not one, not two, not three, but 4 golds in his opening hand. Some very solid mulligans there for him, as he does have access to 3 Viper Witchers right off the bat. He could actually potentially keep this ointment in his hand to make sure that he can that he doesn't, eliminate the chances of him bricking his Vikabaro Novice.
By the way, you're a Nilfgaard expert. What is wrong with Kasper's hand? Is this like how much closer to an ideal hand could you ask for?
This is perfect, and this is very important for Kacper. Having such a solid hand to start off with is exactly what he needs. I mean, everybody wants that, right? But this is the key matchup for Kacper. This is his opportunity. His one shot, his mother spaghetti, to get that win with the deck that Game King is prepared for. And I mean, likes Gwent too. Here we go.
Thinking about the Rainfarn leadoff here with Cantarella. He's going to get a little bit of extra bonus here. The 9-point play for the 13-point supply. Not bad to get things started here on the blue coin. He's going to have to pick up one of these alchemy cards, which is not that bad because he is only holding 2. The chances here, I mean, being able to lead off on blue means you're not going to get open passed against as well. Now, Game King is holding his spy, so he'll be able to turn this around. His spy is in his hand, so Heim is a little bit, well, that's going to be more so for Morkvarg, which is going to protect his position a little bit on the pass, although more important on the blue coin. Still could be a fair leadoff, but he could also think about just flipping the coin right back around here with Udalric and actually getting things started here on the loyal side of the board. But it might just be a setup for Morkvarg, of course.
Yeah, I believe he's going to go Heim into Scout, into his carryover play, establishing his carryover early on in the match. Will put Kacper in a bit of a precarious position.
He's going to have to really
He's already played his spy, so...
Yeah. He's going to have to really rely on those huge Viper Wishers cutting into Cantarella to get a boost here, as 21 points already separating here. Game King leaning into that little bit of point advantage that Kacper has afforded him. But yeah, Kacper being able to drop 16-point Viper Witchers with at least one great target to hit to get things started will keep this pretty close.
The thing is, whenever you face Alchemy, Nilfgaard, despite the power the deck has as a whole, it does have a weakness, and that is the fact that it has to play into one of the 2 first rounds, as they need to fill up their graveyard with ointment targets. Otherwise, we're looking at 3 potential blanks for a long round 3.
Ooh,
and there
not
it is!
good.
Double ointment. That is not what you want to see. Kacper rewarded with an amazing opening hand, punished.
Oh man, Game King can just
with the mother of bricks. Oh wow.
He was thinking about the Viper Witcher. He had it. He was taking his time, and I mean, with the ointment in hand, it's not that high roll. You've got Swallow Potions. I mean, we can even talk about how unlikely that was going to be. Kacper has 3 Swallow Potions in the deck, 2 Ales in the deck as well. But he saw 2 ointments with an ointment in his hand. It wasn't unlikely, but boy, is that hurt. It's still always a possibility, and playing to I don't even think it was that high rolling.
He even kept the no, it was like he kept the ointment in his hand. He had 2 ointments, 2 Macam ales, triple swallow potion in the deck, and he just got screwed there.
GameKing now has just a lot of comfort, a lot of breathing room here to develop those veterans, get things started. Now, GameKing, just talking about veterans a little bit, didn't get started off with the Tweersark Bearmaster, which means that he wasn't able to set up a restore play in the graveyard. So he's going to start playing those veterans first, because now you're going to get that onboard value, you're going to get that extra round 1 push value, and of course you can still use those Spear Maidens to thin out at least one of these hunters. And Triss, perhaps with the reconnaissance, can get that last, the last veteran likely coming from Croc, and then Triss can recon that last one of those Bearmasters out. And actually, those Spear Maidens all active. Everything is completely fine for GameKing's hand here. kacper taking a fantastic opening hand and hitting those bricks. We're going to see how much that impacts here as this game goes on, but that's definitely not what you want to see.
kacper just has to
another
act
chance
as
here.
if nothing happened.
No way, I can't stand it. If he sees 2 ointments.
He can. He has 1 ointment in his hand.
He used it, right?
There's no possibility. Now he could just really try to thin as much as possible here. He goes for a 14-point play, catching up to GameKing. GameKing, see, the thing is, while you can force Alchemy out with an early pass and force him to play into the following round, you're a veteran Skellige. You also have a game plan that revolves around building up your carryover strength. And the way you build up your carryover strength is obviously through the likes of Morkvark, but more predominantly through the likes of the Tweersark veteran. So you have to play into the round as well. You also have resurrections, even though he's only running 2 Priestess of Freya, unlike a Skellige Greatsword's list, which tend to run 3. So he's less reliant on that resurrection late game, but it is still favorable for him to play into that round. He does have that Morkvark, which is very threatening, as it puts kacper in an awkward position. If kacper is not able to catch up, he won't be able to drive pass because of that Morkvark's carryover strength. So it's going to be interesting to see how this round progresses, as that was a 2-point tempo play. That's just awful. That's just absolute garbage, and he has to make up for that here.
And you know, it's great. One of the things I wanted to talk about for Skellige veterans, one of the things I really love about the deck is that you can play it, the sequencing is so fluid. Your Spear Maidens can be very, very important for you early on, but if you have all your Bearmasters in the deck and they're all getting boosted up by those veterans, the Spear Maidens become extremely important plays late game, as you can pull out the 3 or 4 point Bearmaster to make these these huge 14 to 15 point plays on top of that. So the Spear Maiden's good early and late. Freya's, of course, being better late, but we saw those mulligans taking care of that on top of that, as we finally get a Viper Witcher coming out and knocking Morkvark down. So again, kacper going for the lower tempo play because he doesn't get all that value from the Viper Witcher. He only gets, 10 points right there, hurting carryover just a bit. But Morkvark still being a threat as far as being on the board next round here, as Spear Maiden is going to go for the thinning play to get that Tweersark Hunter out. Thinning most important. I actually wanted to ask you a question, Mogwai. When kacper saw the double ointment, Brick Novice, he opted to play the ointment anyway instead of confirming choice. The thinning was more important in this situation.
Yes. It's important to run through your alchemy's cards as best as possible. Even though he does have 4 golds in his hand,
he has
no silvers. He has access to none of his silvers, except for Cantrella and Roach, obviously, right? So he. You always want to thin with this deck. You need to thin. You need to make sure that you don't top deck those alchemy cards. So you just get it out of the way anyways. Because that way you also prevent, that brick from happening again, potentially.
It was the 4 gold cards, though, that made me pause there. I'm like, your draws are you have the cards. Like, you've got the cards you're looking for later as well. So I actually am interested to see what everybody thinks about that. Because, I mean, the thinning, ultimately, consistency is just so important. But when you've got the 3 Viper Witchers, you could have drawn into those ointments.
There's one target. There's one target that GameKing does not. I think Coral is looking to be a very, very fine tool to stop that Roach, as we do know pretty much every card deck out there runs Azir. Being able to deny Azir returning Roach onto the deck could be very impactful, especially considering that Roach is quite thick at this point. That's 12 strength points.
Yeah.
Down goes the 3rd veteran, though, as GameKing ends his
30-point
carryover
lead
setup.
here.
Yeah, that's just absolutely massive.
So there's Azir,
right there.
yeah. I mean, so, and Kacper can play Vesemir into Mandrake and boost up Roach, and then, of course, tuck Roach back in for a later gold play here. But it's interesting, because Kacper has such a gold hand right now, he's not drawing into those golds, he already has them. It means that his power plays in round 3 are limited, because it actually limits the plays he can make right now. He probably is interested in buffing up Roach, but exactly what you said, Coral is a threat, Kacper knows it. But outside of that, you've got your Viper Witcher, Triss, Vilgefortz, Calvet, these are all like massive plays for later, and Kacper has had enough. He's gonna have to pass here. He takes his card, Game King, with a massive lead here, plus carryover. We're going to go into round 2 here at Gwent Open number 7.
Really good for Game King, because Kacper has already played his card advantage Spy, and we see Ulderic in Game King's hand. Game King, Ulderic's brother, apparently, can play into this round as long as he wants. He can set up the round 3 that he wants, basically, because he has full absolute control here.
And the hand just gets better and better for Game King, drawing that Renew, which is active on Heim. And also mulliganing away the Bearmaster, because he's more interested in thinning those cards out with the Reconnaissance, perhaps Triss into Reconnaissance.
He also blacklisted it that way, so it ensures that he has a higher chance of drawing into a silver or a gold by doing that.
That Spear Maiden's going to be great round 3 potential, pulling out those Bearmasters. They're all in there, only 9 cards left in Game King's deck, and 3 of them are Bearmasters and 2 of them are Freyas. Now, those are pretty good draws here. Here comes that first Bearmaster from the Reconnaissance, activating the Spear Maiden. Also, a healthy 17 points to get things started here, as Kacper is now fighting for his life already. He's got the double ointment, 2 Viper Witchers available. He's got the Black Blood in hand, but Vesemir active on the Mandrake. Triss and Vilgefortz, just huge plays, of course.
Raphael, Game King, with the driver's seat right here, taking absolute control of round 2, setting up round 3. Kacper basically has to drop his least valuable resources. Also, increase the size of his graveyard so he can get good value out of these ointment plays and preserve his most powerful swings for round 3. But it's gonna be tough if Game King has to determine exactly how long this round has to go, because Alchemy has one of the strongest round 3s, especially if it's relatively short. So I'm very intrigued to see how far Game King will be willing to push. This is a matchup that he's prepared for. He knows. I'm pretty sure he's very well set to beat Alchemy. He knows exactly how he needs to push. So it's going to be interesting to see when he opts to go out of this round here.
I mean, I think that Ulderic is always going to be a great choice here, just because you're able to get those points back if you actually smell an opportunity to really push on top of that with that extra card you get, because Coral is, it's a huge swing. There's not a lot of great options for Coral here, because depending on how the beer flows, depending on how the potions land, you can get a huge one. You can get a huge swing with Coral, but it's not always guaranteed, and Kacper not giving that opportunity to crush Roach down into an artifact there. So. And it looks like there goes a doomed Freya. So Game King setting up those 2 Bearmasters, likely was going to slot right into those 2 Freyas as a later draw, potentially either from Triss or the draw. 1 Freya is now gone. And Kacper also, at least he has the benefit of the Viper Witchers, kind of that perfect slotting in there. 11 points right on the 11-point bear. You always kind of have that kind of reliable target for the Viper Witches to make sure you get that full value in this matchup specifically.
Game King hovering over his cards. I expect him to perhaps drop the Hunter, as it is a decent 14-point play at this stage. But
yes, cards are so strong at this point. I mean, you could also get one of the you could get your veterans out, another veteran out here with Sigdrifa. Usually, what she can be used for. I mean, there's a couple of situations where she might be pulling something else, like. A Hunter if you need it, but in this situation, it just gives an extra boost to the Bears, which are likely to come back because you do have that availability through Triss, and of course the draw. Renew's looking great for Heim. On top of that, I mean, Game King's hand is stacked at this point. Now he's just going to look for the best value in Coral. Where does he think he's going to get that Coral value?
That's the key thing here. I'm not sure if he's going to opt to go for Coral this round, because Coral, the shorter the round is, the least amount of buffs Kacper is going to be able to get onto his units, which means Coral doesn't really represent that much value. So I would not be surprised if he would opt to drop it this round, because if the round is too short, it's not going to be a solid option for him. But maybe he opts to hold on to it. He already does have a Renew target anyways in Heim, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, Game King has this matchup very well studied, so he knows how deep he has to push here. Ooh, there's the ghoul right there.
There's the ghoul, and there is now is this the option here? The spot. Well, the spot's not on the graveyard because Udalric was played in this round. So he's just going to go for the Ekamar for the highest tempo play.
I like this play. Denying the carryover. That's the best play kacper could go for. It takes 1 point out of Game King's next round 3.
Now, I think that in this situation here, Game King could realistically consider Coral just because Renew gives you that flexibility. You obviously have a great choice at Heim, but if you need Coral later, and here comes maybe the decision being made exactly as we're drawing it up
I
here,
like this Coral play.
Just get that value here, the 16-pointer.
I'm a big fan of this Coral right here. It enables him to push deeper. It's going to force one of kacper's golds out of him or his leader. Regardless, a very powerful card has to be dropped down here for kacper.
Here comes
and he targets the novice to potentially disrupt some ointment plays in round 3. I like that targeting right there.
Well, I mean, there's definitely that. I mean, when it comes to decisions being made by a matter of a single point, sometimes you just kind of want to maybe protect yourself here. The ghoul's already been played. That's the big thing, I think, because with the ghoul, the Black Blitz specifically, basically taking ghoul out of the equation, Cantarella is much less of a liability being in the, Udalric is much less of a liability being in there as Mandrake.
Ooh,
interesting.
Wants to deny the Renew.
Targeting the Renew, perhaps. Very interesting consideration here.
I'm a big fan of that one because, okay, let's take a look at Heim, right? What does Heim do in this matchup? Heim can take either Azir,
that's not great,
Joaquin, or Roach. So, I mean, Joaquin is pretty good, though. Joaquin is very solid.
Is likely the best, especially considering you've got those, you got the thick Bear Masters,
wait,
right?
No. The Heim doesn't target
disloyal units. That is correct. Yeah. Well,
it's only Azir.
So this is pretty important here. So now Heim ends up still being a 14-point play. I don't know how much, and there could be a little bit of disruption, I guess, if you want to tuck the Viper Witches back in. Take that chance with Calvet active. It's less reliable to do something like that. So Game King's approach with this Renew is.
I'm not against the. It depends on what he opts to do, but he could actually drop Triss here and have it be the Renew target and push kacper even further. That's a possibility, I think.
It's a huge play, too. Triss.
He's pushing deep.
Oh, he is pushing deep if he's going to play the Hunter.
Every single one of these plays here are just
bleeding
kind of devastating for kacper. Like, that's another goal down the drain.
Now, kacper's got to make a huge decision here, and he has no options. He has to play something here. Calvet probably is the best. I mean, Triss represents a lot Calvet lets you see what Village of Forest is pulling at this point. So
I have to go Calvet.
At least you got to take a look here. Ooh, the Vico's good. I think the Vico is good for the Village of Forest off the top. So you might just consider playing the Swallow Potion right here just to make sure that you get that, because at this point, Game King's looking pretty aggressive. Pretty aggressive.
I like this line of play. Vigavaro Medic top deck into Azir to return Roach to his deck.
Yeah.
And then finishing up with Triss Telekinesis, getting Roach out of the deck.
He's also probably drawing into the Vigavaro Medic.
Okay, he wants to disrupt his draws and deny the restore as well. He wants to deny the restore target onto this round at least. He wants to make sure that he doesn't get 2-0'd here.
Yeah, and that definitely does protect here. So that just changes things a little bit.
More preemptive play here by kacper.
Pretty heads up. Definitely expecting Renew from Game King. Not an unlikely inclusion for bets. I mean, Renew's pretty good. Like you getting.
I don't know. I mean, if I would expect a card here, I would expect Triss from Game King because he can always renew it.
Yeah. Oh no. As far as order here, I mean, Game King has one option. I'm just saying that kacper predicting that Renew is a threat.
Yeah.
It's realistic. Just being able to get the double Heim, double Coral, double Triss. Like, there's just so many great options here. It's almost always good for veterans.
The clock is ticking for Game King here.
Yeah. Game King realizing that his options are limited.
He does pass. All right. This kacper still has a very strong late game here. This is going to be very interesting. That Renew is not going to be nearly as powerful as you would think.
But I think Triss is so important for this round. There goes the Swallow. Gets the
Vigavaro
Medic.
Down the line. Ooh, boy.
That was not a guaranteed draw. It was right underneath the Swallow right there. He wanted to draw into the Vico Varomedics, so the Vico Varomedics is so great. He's going to grab this huge Bearmaster right here.
He didn't return his. He didn't return Roach. He returned 2 cards from his opponent, so it was a guaranteed draw right there.
Well, the Swallow was on top. Well, you know what? Well, the Swallow was on top of the deck.
He drew Swallow and he mulliganed it into Vico Varomedic. This is very, very key for kacper. If kacper can get a win here, that would be massive. This is the targeting deck for Game King.
And
this
I mean,
is crucial.
Getting that Vico Varomedic now, kacper running just the one. That's the only Vico Varomedic, which is very threatening here.
Renew onto Heim. Gonna create a silver unit. Oh, okay, so it doesn't.
Oh, Joachim is part of the pool.
Is part, yeah.
Oh, Mogwai.
But he opts to go for a Zir anyways.
Well, he wants to maybe, he's trying to find a way. He wants to maybe hurt Vilgefortz a little bit too, because that makes Vilgefortz not a sure thing anymore. Well, I guess it's not a sure thing anyway, because we've already seen the draws in the mulligan, and we already know that there's one Vico Varomedic in the deck. The Swallow was mulliganed as well, so we don't know where that got shuffled back in. So so Vilgefortz is a mystery at this point, and now looking, yeah, just get it over with. If you know it's going to be bad, you got to take a look now.
Oh,
it's going to be the Vico Varnovis. Not bad. You'll take it.
How did that?
Not
punished at all.
Very strong swing for kacper. No reason to play around Coral anymore, as Renew has been shown, so there's no chance that it can get punished. He could potentially have Igni, even though it's very unlikely. He is opting to play a bit around that and not stack all the strength onto the Vilgefortz right there, buffing the Vico Varnovis. kacper at 37 points.
Come here.
With a 23-point lead over Game King. Game King is 7 points behind. Triss versus Triss.
Triss versus Triss. Triss going to give a bear hug one way
Oh,
and a novice another way, perhaps.
I think kacper has this. I think kacper definitely has this.
Going to get full value on that Viper,
There's two.
but he's going to get that novice too.
I think he has to go directly to Viper Witcher.
Yeah, because he did play. He got the burn early, right?
Full value right there.
What
for
a disparity
kacper.
in points here. Game King just isn't going to get there.
This is not enough. kacper is getting the win with the deck that Game King teched against. This is huge for kacper.
Did he not get the recon either? Oh, he does. Well, he can use the ointment.
He can use the ointment.
He can use the ointment. Yes.
He can go into Spear Maiden.
All right, we're gonna see. This is gonna close things out here.
Ointment, I believe that. Yeah, okay. Onto the Bearmaster. 7 points behind. Game King loses the first matchup against Alchemy. kacper with the win.
Ooh, this definitely changes the tempo of this match right here.
Big.
Game King saying he was soft targeting Alchemy, and Alchemy gets the first chance in.
Ooh.
Now kacper is going to be able to. Now kacper in the commanding position, going in red coin with a Bruverhook deck that is probably going to throw Game King off. And also, I think that, I mean, he's going in with veterans again. I think Coral is going to be super strong against Bruverhook. But the thing is, Game King is probably not anticipating this. I think that the biggest thing that you're anticipating when you see Bruver, or you see any Scoia'tael right now, is Scoia'tael Shoop. So I think that that's probably what Game King is anticipating. And you wouldn't necessarily think that Coral or some huge reset plays would be that important. In that particular matchup. Now, Ethna also has a lot of reach as well, being able to replay things like, well, it's going to be mostly for thinning. You have decoy marching orders and, of course, the Elven Blade. That's not necessarily what you're going to want here. It's going to go full test versus Erica's Queen. Now, I like the full test list from kacper. He's running a Witch Hunter version with the Night Alex and the Kadweni Knights, plus a great addition that I like in Last Wish instead of something like Marching Orders or another tutor, because you're able to get that gold from Last Wish as well, and Muzzle instead of Kira, which is a bold choice, but very, very good for tournament meta as well.
I mean, Muzzle is key here. Muzzle will enable kacper to potentially steal one of Game King's Neckers, and that could really disrupt this game plan.
Oh, and this is, I mean, Game King needs to draw a solution to the Muzzle, and he did.
He has another one. There we go. Problem solved. You're mulligan away. Oh, that's risky.
Oh, very interesting.
That's risky.
Very interesting choice here.
He's opted to mulligan away the Slizzard for last. We'll see.
Slizzard's got a lot done if the Vran or the Vran is answered.
I mean, he does
the
have
extra
decoy
Decker
though.
Warrior.
Or he's gonna opt to keep this hand. I mean, this is not a bad hand. You can just go with this. All right, here we go. kacper 1, Game King 0. Game King has to climb back up here and overcome that very. I think that loss is quite devastating for Raphael here.
Double Witch
really
Hunter in
his
hand.
plans.
Double Witch Hunter, not great for Kacper. Germain in hand is very good. Germain being played right into full test is getting extra value on those extra units, those cows as well. Knight Elects, 2 Knight Elects in hand with no direct answer. The thing about Consume that I feel is probably, I mean, Consume can go down like upwards of 3 cards and still have a devastating round 3, which is really, really scary. But Northern Realms is able to set up the engines and also push massive tempo. The engines keep ticking, which actually can really hinder the lower tempo start for Consume. So Kacper not banning Consume, maybe even anticipating this as well, as GameKing leads off with the Frightener picking up Brewis. And now this is just going to be so many points. Now if Kacper wants to lead off with Germain full test and maybe develop a Knight Elector too, it's going to make it really hard for GameKing to catch up if he's going to start off with that low tempo Necker play with the Necker Warrior, Vran. I think it's very bold of GameKing to play Frightener unless he's thinking about passing immediately.
I don't think you can do that as Consume. He's opting to play Foltest before Germain.
Interesting choice.
That's interesting for sure.
He definitely considered it.
I'm definitely expecting Muzzle and Vettermaker to be some of the initial plays here for Kacper. He can opt to steal the first Necker with Muzzle, or he may just go right off the bat with the Frost onto it. In this matchup, you want to use Vettermaker as a weather setter, and you want to go for a Frost in the row in which the Necker is deployed. But he opts to go for the Knight Elect instead.
He wants to get these engines ticking. He wants to know that on a pass, if GameKing needs to take 2 or 3 turns to set up, he wants to make sure that's going to hurt him real bad. 4 points a turn. That if you have to go down 2 cards, that means you have to also combat 8 points of value plus overcome the following turn. So this is extremely low tempo. If we see another Knight Elect here, I honestly think that Kacper may pass after playing this next Knight Elect, especially considering his hand is not super fantastic. Plus, he does have the muzzle to go into the Necker play perhaps in round 2, which would really slow down GameKing if he already had to expend a lot of cards and huge bombs to get there. And I'm wondering how strong can GameKing overcome like just constant round over round value here.
There goes the muzzle. Oh, or not.
When is it most effective to take that Necker? I mean, you got to put GameKing on not keeping the second one. And there's the eyebrow raise. So slightly maybe under expected, but he did keep that second Necker in hand just in case. But boy, does this start to be slow. GameKing probably thinking about a pass perhaps.
Like I said, you really want to try to avoid that. You want to try to avoid. He could just drop the Vran Warrior onto the Necker Warrior there. And then he doesn't need to play his Necker immediately here because he's already played the first Necker Warrior, right? So, like I said, pass. Like none of these 2 players want to pass. Whether they're forced into that position or not is a different story. But as a Consume player, you want to be able to take control of round 2 because getting bled is a very risky situation to be in. You don't really mind going down 2 cards as long as you take control of the game. Control of round 2 is imperative, especially when you have such a powerful proactive deck. I'm expecting the better. There we go. Now he plays it.
Well, it's playing still into what I think is being the setup here for Kacper is just overtime value. So with the Frost ticking and potentially 2 Knight Elects, maybe even 3 with the Reconnaissance or something that Stennis might pull, which of course is very risky because of the Witch Hunters. If he's able to develop engines to this degree.
Okay, there.
I mean, I honestly think that when you have Witch Hunters to do resets on the Neckers, that you could comfortably pass, knowing that it's going to take a lot of points for GameKing to actually go into this round, or you can just get the ultimate where GameKing can recognize that he can't do it and actually cedes control of the round to Kacper anyway. With Kacper being able to pass.
The only way GameKing passes here is because he knows he can't catch up in like a bunch of plays. Like that's the only way. Otherwise, you just don't pass. You don't give your opponent the luxury. And the same goes for Kacper. Kacper has to have a tremendous lead in order to even think about passing. Passing is extremely dangerous against this deck. If you give a Consume player control, they will beat you. Even if they're 2 cards down, like they will overwhelm you, especially in the Northern Realms matchup. Like,
but with the Witch Hunters though?
I do not. No, the Witch Hunters don't do that much.
I mean, not on last play, but if you make the Consume player go down cards, then you have last say. And you can at least reset 1 gigantic Necker coming back out.
Yeah,
after
but
the Forktail as well. The Forktail is also a great target for the Witch Hunter.
Yeah, but that's just like 1 counter to that play. Like you just don't pass.
Oh, I mean, we're talking about a situation where GameKing goes down multiple cards, and multiple cards giving up a turn. Here comes Here
That's
comes
a good Selkirk. That's a good.
Yeah,
That's
Kacper
a
is making 51 to
50
1
points. See,
Mogwai.
this is tough. This is tough. This is tough because the thing is, you can go down 2 cards, but going down 3, that's really risky.
I mean, with
Kacper
4 points a
with
turn.
the pressure, GameKing is in very big trouble.
I don't know if this is a bold statement or not, but I feel like GameKing is in an impossible position in this round at this point. And Kacper hasn't even dropped the second Night Elect. 4 points a turn. No, like the setup just barely.
Just
nothing in the
completely denied.
Got to do it. He's got to see.
Awful.
This is massive. Kacper can bleed almost everything, but it's tricky. Just one right draw, one Slizzard draw can mean just a mountain of points for GameKing. So it's not out yet, but of course the control here from Foltest, get rid of that he's going to hold on. No, you know what? I like this. I like this. We were just talking about how important the Witch Hunters will be. You can use multiple Witch Hunters if you're not thinning. So that's each one of those becomes less of one answer, Mogwai, becomes multiple answers.
The problem with the Witch Hunters, like for example, Witch Hunter into Forktail, is that it doesn't even trade off with that card technically, as Forktail has 4 more base power. So they're not really, sorry, 5 more, but because of the buff from Foltest, the strength difference in the initial card in the hand is 4. As we see Shawnee going down, Kacper has to push here. He's 1 card down. He forced GameKing to pass right there, which did not feel good. But at the same time, he's not out of the woods yet. He has to push GameKing as deep as he can to just completely leave him completely helpless in round 3 here.
Yeah, same strategy as round 1. Develop engines and make it hurt. Just leave GameKing destitute for points. And also, just in case you're wondering, Kacper is running 2 Thunderbolt Potions and 1 Tormented Mage to make that draw on the Thunderbolt Potion not a brick. And of course, having a lot of value in this matchup, being able to play the Witch Hunters from hand individually is just generally, Kacper's hand is better than it may appear on paper.
Kacper setting up the engines immediately. He has dropped a lot of very powerful resources in round 1, though. The weather generation through Vettermaker with the Frost and the Selkirk. Selkirk is so strong, and not having Selkirk now definitely hinders him. GameKing has to start enabling his game plan here and just get that proactiveness going and try to preserve the likes of Phoenix. GameKing wants a 3-card round 3. Like a 3-card round 3 is enough for him to overwhelm Kacper here. So this round is gonna be long, but it's gonna really come down to how much Kacper's engines here in the Redanian Night Elects can counter this insane just greedy strategy.
It's just gonna get worse and worse for GameKing in this round. The other thing that is working in Kacper's favor, because we know, I mean, if you've played on the ladder, you know how much damage Consume can do in 1 card. But let's talk about Kacper's round 3. You see 13 cards in the deck. You see Stennis, you see a Reinforcements as well. Potentially Stennis drawing, well here the Tormented Mage represents 2 cards being thinned out, and you can make an argument for either one of these, but if you want to go for the thinning, you want to make sure that you're drawing into Dijkstra, or a way to secure those Kidwinnie Knights. 3 Kidwinnie Knights are going to be in the deck, especially with this player here, which is going to be a double thin. He's going to get the Thunderbolt. Again, Stennis thins 1, another Witch Hunter could be a thin. Then you're able to at least draw into, if you draw into Kidwinnie Knight, you've got the triple blacklist, so that's a great mulligan. And then you've got Last Wish, which can grab you Dijkstra easily, or Last Wish just grabs one of those Kidwinnie Knights and gets the value out of it on top of that as well. Reaver Scout is also great to draw in for the Kidwinnie Knight. And of course, there's the Reconnaissance for the Kidwinnie Knight. So actually, Kacper's draws, even though he's got 11 cards in his deck, really highly favored to find what he needs, especially if he gets that Last Wish. So I think Kacper's going to be trying to thin as much as possible. And also, it's in his favor because Stennis could grab a Night Elect and just completely. We've already seen a 50-point lead, and I think Kacper might actually get around that as well in this round. And GameKing's is doing what Consume does, but it's just looking a little on the slow side here.
Yeah, it definitely seems slow here. That muzzle slowed him down quite a bit, even though he had another Necker in hand. That definitely disrupted his sequencing. As he's going to go for Slizzard onto Brand Warrior, going to consume the Necker Warrior and potentially chain onto another.
Here comes Stennis, more thinning, maybe.
But that's the thing. Like Kacper's putting a lot of strength on the board, but he's also running out of steam here. Like he does have the Witch Hunters,
but it's like a steam engine, my friend. And then, you know what? This isn't even that bad. You get the Brand Warrior, 10 points. 11.
How much? That was 9 points onto the Ran Warrior plus 13. That was a 17 point Stanish right there. Pretty solid. And double Radiating Intellect is what's going on here for kacper. Like, that's just so strong.
I mean, we're talking about running out of steam, but kacper's got the engines.
Yeah, he's got the engines.
Just, you know, it's well, I mean, I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere I totally whiffed, but you know what I'm trying to say here. kacper, I think, is making this, he's trying to make this as strong as possible while still leaving him some sort of option with round 3. But at this point, I mean, if I was in kacper's position, it's bleed, bleed, bleed. If you actually get consumed to pass, and you're able to get these engines out, and you saw Shawnee was like the first play. kacper was in this for the long haul, getting his engine out immediately. So I think that, I mean, especially considering the Witch Hunters, you know, the more you push Game King, the more you're going to see stuff like Forktail, see stuff like, you know, a large consume, the Vrans, of course, consuming the Neckers on top of that. The Witch Hunters could just very realistically shut this down as a 2-0 for kacper, and I think outside of that Thunderbolt being that last consideration, perhaps for a mulligan into one of the great things we talked about, Last Wish Dijkstra, or the Kidwini Knight as well, I think that you go as deep as potentially playing one Witch Hunter. I mean, with a lead like this, 71-29, I think it's a consideration.
I mean, with Radiating Intellect, you want to just go as far as you can. 42-point lead for kacper, 42 points with 2 engines taking every turn. GameKing hovering over his Forktail right there, gonna opt to consume one of the Neckers here and start, you know, getting his own high swing tempo plays going on. Down goes the Forktail, consuming the Necker Warrior
Hunter
and the
looking
Necker.
good now.
Going up to 49 points, still 22 points behind.
Witch Hunter with the quickness.
Oh my lord, that is so strong. These Witch Hunters, the fact that he didn't chain them, the fact that he kept them separate, and he was able to pull one of them through Stennis is so important here. Like, the point gap is, like, this is strange. We're seeing Foltest versus Consume.
Nah, it all makes sense to me.
Foltest is just making so many, like, so much more points here.
The pressure was on. I mean, I actually wonder if the game-changing play might have actually been Game King leading off with the Frightener, because giving kacper that massive point boost just obviously impacted Game King's decision here. And kacper at this point seeing the easy Witch Hunter, and you know, it's starting to be clear and clear why he let Consume through. You know, you keep the individual Witch Hunters just to make these insane shutdown plays. And, you know, it comes from the mind of a player who loves playing boost cards. You know, he's got an Idle X, and he's got this amazing Groove of Hoogless, which we might actually see next game if kacper is able to secure a win here, which is becoming more and more likely as Brewis is forced out. Massive component. These are 3 massive plays for Game King, and kacper is likely to put him on Phoenix and Slizzard as being the most dangerous things that could be in Game King's hand right now. So why not play another card, maybe,
This Araka's Queen is going to be insane, though. This Araka's Queen is representing a tremendous amount of points for Game King here.
Gotta hold the Witch Hunter, right?
He's gonna proc the Neckers once with the Brand Consume here at the beginning of his turn, and then he's gonna proc it again with triple. He's gonna proc it 3 times with Araka's Queen, and he's gonna start chomping down on those Neckers too. So this is gonna, even though he is 50 points behind,
it's not much to consume sometimes.
Yeah, it's
not much.
This is gonna be very, very powerful. Also, the Araka's Queen is immune, so even though it'll be the biggest target on Game King's board, it will not be targetable by the Witch Hunter right here. The question is, do we see the Araka's Queen go down here?
I mean, I feel like it's the only real. I think that for exactly the reason why
I think you want to hold on though, because you may have the last Witch Hunter here. So
you use Brewis though. I mean,
because if you consume like 3 units, that's gonna buff up all the Neckers. That's gonna give him kacper a really solid target with the Witch Hunter here. This is gonna be. He may preserve Araka's Queen for like his final play to catch up. He has a lot of math to do here. This is
the immunity is important. The immunity is fine in either round, right? The immunity protects you here. It protects you later.
Here we go, chump time.
Gonna get things covered. 84.
Look at that! Look at that boost.
Oof. I mean, this isn't the greatest Witch Hunter here. It's not poor, and it definitely forces another resource out. kacper is just trying to make sure if you know what is available in the graveyard here, as Slizzard and Phoenix both representing graveyard cards.
I mean, Forktail easily catches up here. The question is, does kacper pass and go into an even round? It'll be a 2-card round 3. A 2-card round 3, depending on what Game King draws.
I mean, you
especially if you're
basically need
forced
Dijkstra.
out of the likes of, even though he wouldn't play Phoenix, right? This is the question. Does he pass here or does he drop his Witch Hunter?
Just checking the graveyard one more time. There is a
Here's the pass. He's forced to
man-o-man.
pass. He's forced to pass.
Well,
and
he's calculating. He's like, whatever Game King has, he's going to get it.
Yeah,
The
he
point
has to pass here.
He can't create a big enough gap that is enough for Game King, I think, at this point. So.
And down will go Slizzer for Game King here.
But now also, Game King has to deal with the fact that he is losing 4 points a turn, or Casper is gaining 4 points a turn. So that's pretty good. So
I
on the
believe
pass,
Slizzer does it easily.
12 points up.
Yeah.
But really, then he has to make up that additional 4 points that's going to be ticking over on the pass.
Well, he's only 12 points behind, so I'm pretty sure. He's fine by just consuming one of the Neckers. He doesn't have to go 2.
Yeah, one will be enough.
Forktail, yep.
That will be the triple proc there. He's going to go for the Slizzard, which is going to be enough for the procs here.
And the question is, is he forced to play? Because the
think he
Random
has
Warrior
to.
will proc. He is forced though. Yeah, he's forced to consume one of the Neckers though. Getting another one out of the deck and easily getting ahead of Kacper right here. And it's going to be a. Oh, for a second there, I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
And here we go, 2-card round 3. He still has the Phoenix. He needs to draw into. Well, it's easy
No,
for him.
Phoenix is like
though.
one of the best things to draw. He's got the Phoenix. He's used Brewis. He's used Queen.
Either a consume card or a Necker. Both options are really solid for GameKing here. As we see,
Kedweny Knight, good blacklist.
Yeah, he has to
Last Wish,
Last
not
Wish.
over here. Last Wish could mean Dijkstra.
Oh,
But not.
that's just nutty though.
You'd rather look at Dijkstra than a chance for Dijkstra. There's Forktail and Phoenix. So Phoenix bringing back a Necker through Slizzer, then Forktail.
and then Forktail.
Oh god, that's a mountain of points.
That's nuts.
I mean,
That's nuts.
you basically have to Last Wish into Dijkstra, get double Kedweny Knight, and get the
Slizzer
Witch Hunter
onto
here.
Necker here.
This is going to be the Witch Hunter.
That is a thick Necker
Oh, but
right
you
there.
wait for the Forktail before you play that. Oh, no Dijkstra. Reinforcements into the
Dijkstra.
Kedweny Knight.
No DJ for Kacper. No tunes for him. Down goes the Kedweny Knight.
But boy, I mean, if you target this Forktail, I mean,
This is the power of Consume, ladies and gentlemen. This is why this is a deck that you want to ban. It is very, very powerful. If you don't disrupt its game plan, it is ridiculously proactive. Down goes the Forktail, gonna go to the Necker buffet here.
well, he's thinking about that last Witch Hunter, right? He's like, okay, well, how much is the reset going to hurt me here? And of course, there was a long round
if he cycles through a Necker, it's always worth it, right?
Game King making sure here he's going to cycle.
Yeah, he
30
makes
points
sure
on
that
the
he has
Forktail.
he's making sure
Oh
right there.
God, that's a lot of points. Consume. So filthy.
There you go, 13-point
Kacper.
lead.
Casper, you know what? Probably maybe taught a lot of people about the Consume matchup, but I think the Consume matchup has just been so dominant for so long. I wonder, like, where did it go wrong there? Casper couldn't have pushed any harder, I think. The pass from Game King.
He invested in a lot of resources, basically, into round 1. He was very dominant, but Game King knew when he had to give up and just make sure that he wasn't bled optimally. And the fact that he forced the likes of Selkirk out of him round 1 was very impactful. He also had no weather generation. Double Radiating Elect proved to be very, very impactful right there, but not enough as Game King is able to establish a win here, taking a solid round 3 victory over Kacper. And we have Brewer and King Foltest versus Ethne and Croc and Crate. I definitely expect Foltest here from Kacper, perhaps preserving the likes of Brewer when he's back on the red coin, as he did label it as a red coin deck. And Game King, we could potentially see the likes of Croc and Crate for him.
Consume monsters just,
There will be
oh
no
man.
negotiation.
It's a great time to remind you that Homecoming's coming. We're going to see a whole world of new decks.
He's
After
going
seeing that
Ethne.
Consume deck, I'm sure that people are probably, just looking at that circle on their calendars, I think, because that was just, it just didn't seem fair. It just, for Casper to have such a good round 1 or round 2, I'm going to get over it right now. I'm just saying, it just didn't seem fair. As we're going to see full test go again here. Now, I mean, here's the thing about Casper. Not drawing Dijkstra was pretty rough. If Dijkstra was drawn by Casper and he had it in round 2, totally different story. Totally different story. Game King definitely sweating much harder. But we're going to see the return of Shoop. Shoop took a day off for Challenger, and Shoop's day off is going to be coming back here for Gwent Open. He seems to like the Gwent Tavern, as we saw lots of Shoops in the previous Gwent Open as well, and none in the Challenger. So Game King with Ethnic Shoop specifically, as Jermaine's going to come down pre-full test this time, which is going to get that extra 4 points boost on full test.
See, one of the interesting things about this matchup is Squirtle Shoop in general was established as a very powerful deck in the pro ladder until Foltest came along and just basically I've spoken with a lot of pro players in regards to this matchup and why Ethne and Brewer Shoop kind of dropped out of the competitive scene in these tournaments, and this is the culprit, ladies and gentlemen. Foltest just, according to the god himself, Tilbot's own words, has more points.
Well, I mean, honestly,
it just has more points. And,
if you ever ask Tailbot why he chooses anything,
Tailbot is a fan of decks that provide him with more points than his opponents. He really likes that.
You know what?
It just goes to show his next level.
I mean, me too. We have so much in common.
Yeah, I honestly like. I kind of like more points too. Personally.
I tried less points. It didn't work so well.
Yeah. I don't like it either. Yeah. I don't know.
Countering the weather real quick here, Kacper obviously is going to turn this around. Oh no, he's going to counter the weather in one way. I mean, you could have made the case, well, not with Ida on the board. I was having too much fun with that joke, Mogwai. No, definitely clearing the weather here, as Ida's really the only thing to really worry about outside of perhaps a decoy here. But Ida is one of those things that gets, weather in general. Scoia'tael has always been looking for that extra long round support in weather. Ida and Vadermaker have been constant choices for Scoia'tael over time. In this case, for Game King, only running Ida, so that is the only weather here. And Kacper is just going to be much better able to set up over damage and points over time with Nidalee and Vadermaker.
Your main opening there for Kacper, well, it's a very standard opening for Foltest because of the swarmy capabilities of that card. It also counters Game King's Panther. The way Kacper is stacking in the Seize Road right here plays around Panther and Macam Power Technician, both of which are in Game King's hand. So obviously, at one point, because of the road limit, he's going to run out of space and he's going to have to, he's going to do it now. Game King has to opt to play that Panther when he has a chance to do so. Obviously, you want to play the likes of Redanian Nidalee onto the Siege Row.
Yeah, stuff like Reaver Scout, stuff like Stennis, like that creates the additional bodies that'll shut down Panther. So Panther is, it's interesting. That's the cool thing about Shoop decks. Not always taking stuff like Power Technician. Panther is I think, often an inclusion. But so Kacper playing around it here is completely fair.
Dwarven Agitator into, I believe, the Dwarven Mercenary here.
The Dwarven Mercenary is available.
There you go.
Strong card, always been strong. Very versatile card. 12 reliable points. By which I mean to say 11 reliable points, but also providing you protection from weather. And of course, I just think that Dwarven Mercenary, through all the Scoia'tael decks, has just come back in, and it hasn't changed very much as well. With the downfall of things like Poly bringing back giant skirmishers, the Dwarven Mercenary is kind of saddled up as your main dwarf go-to. Not to say that there are not skirmishers available, of course, in Game King's deck as well. But, it's just been, I've been reminiscing about the past lately. I think we've been talking about this a lot as we are in our last moments of vintage Gwent here. The Dwarven Mercenary has definitely come and gone over time, as Kacper's going to go right for the thinning here. Different story when you compare it to Consume, where you get massive value with the Witch Hunters. In this situation, you're not looking...
15 points is still pretty good.
Oh, it's
15
definitely.
points in thinning. I like Kacper going for this now. He's definitely delaying the
Pyrotech, though.
The Redanian Nidalee because of removal, but he has given. I don't like the positioning of the last Witch Hunter here. It enables Macam Power Technician to get full value. I think if you're Game King, I mean, he's holding on to it, I believe, because he may want to be able to hit a Redanian Nidalee. Potentially later down the line, but he opts to drop it now. I mean, you get the full 14 value out of a bronze card, which is very solid. And down goes, as I like to call, Notice Me Senpai.
The Boosty Boys.
Yep.
Coming to get you. I think I do like the, playing, when you play, we're talking about variations in Shoop and how Pyrotechnician isn't always there, whereas Panther is more likely to be there. So not playing around Pyrotechnician there. It could have just been, just a quick misconsideration there, or he just honestly thought
there
that
it
Game King
is.
didn't bring it. And there's that Elven Blade, that little solution that Game King has baked into his Scoia'tael deck, and he should have access. And Ethna gives him other access to it as well. Ethna doesn't have like super power plays when it comes to replaying units. Ethna is more used for well, you got the decoy and the marching orders, more used for thinning, making sure you're more likely to draw into Shoop as well. So in the past, you play Brewer, Yavin would guarantee that Shoop draw. Things have changed. Brewer can't pull Yavin anymore. Ethna falling into favor, but of course you want to have more flexible special cards like Decoy, Marching Orders, and the Elven Blade and the Recon as well. So Ethna becomes less of a, I need to hold on to this situation, like whereas Ethna has been in previous metas with Scorches and other huge plays. Being able to play Marching Orders twice alone is great, but being able to have an extra Elven Blade to take care of these Night Elects is fantastic.
The question I was asking myself there is whether he would opt to go for Ethne. Was it worth it to utilize Elven Blade and take control of this first round? Or is Game King going to opt to preserve her for round 3, in which she could be incredibly powerful? And I think Game King is opting to preserve her for later. But letting that Redating Night Elect live is definitely going to hinder his ability to basically win this round, I believe. He has enabled Panther onto the range row right there, but I do believe kacper is going to play around that. He does have a Reaver Scout here, which he could drop to fish for the third Redating Night Elect. Place it perhaps on the Siege row right there and get his engine going and also get some more thinning. I definitely think that's a solid play to go for.
It's not bad. As the rounds get shorter, the value that you'd be getting from engine cards just goes down a little bit more. Shawnee in hand, of course, being able to establish an engine in a later round, as we saw it in the previous matchup against Consume. So you can make the argument. I think this is fine because you know Game King's going to stay in this and keep thinning. And at a 22-point lead, it starts to become scary because going in on even cards at this point for Game King wants to make sure that he is able to secure the win. Without Shoop in hand, it becomes a little bit harder to do that.
22 points with 4 points proccing each turn. Can Game King even take this back with a combination of Barclay and Sangram Outlaw? I doubt.
I mean, let's take a look. Barclay is, it would be pulling the Skirmisher, I believe. I think the Skirmisher is the only dwarf
or the Mahakam Guard.
Or the Mahakam Guard, yes. So those are the two options there. Isengrim can look for Marching Orders and Decoy as well. Marching Orders would...
I believe those two plays... the thing is, like right now, kacper has a 22-point lead, but it's technically a 30-point lead because of those Redating Night Elects proccing, and it does force Game King to pass right there, as kacper takes the first round, going one card down against Game King right here. Will kacper draw into his spy because, Game King draw into his spy here, because that could actually prove to be a hindrance for him. And what will we see him do? Yeah, no Dijkstra still.
No Dijkstra being drawn by kacper, not great. I think you definitely, you're looking for the long round, I think, with Shawnee, but now the extra Night Elect is gone, so you could make a case to just go for the long round, but you could also make the case for thinning, so you could just draw Dijkstra, like finally draw Dijkstra, kacper.
It's risky though. Thinning is risky because if he starts playing into this round, he has to make sure that he out-tempos Game King. Otherwise, he could be going into round 3 one card under. And that is not something you want to do. Game King is still not drawing a Shoop, but he does have Triss, Telekinesis, and a buffed up Isengrim Outlaw. So
both players benefit from thinning, definitely.
Will we see a dry pass, or will we see kacper going in?
He's going for it. There's Kid Winning Night. Tempo.
Yep, he gets the Kid Winning Night right there. 18-point status there for kacper.
Seems like a good target now. If kacper wants to go here, Shawnee into the Night Elect is pretty good, right in the middle there. He does have the thinning with the Tormented Mage, plus Thunderbolt from hand, not so bad, especially if you're concerned about getting the armor knocked off by a Dwarven Skirmisher or some other effect. Of course, the Elven Blade is still a real threat. However, the extra armor from Shawnee does protect. Outside of the boost from Foltest, it does protect.
It does protect it from removal. Another option that he could go with is Shawnee onto Reaver Scout onto another copy of Kid Winning Night. If he wants immediate tempo here.
Makes
kacper
Dijkstra worth,
options.
Makes Dijkstra worth, though, on the draw, because that's kind of like what you want to see from Dijkstra. So, a lot of considerations here. Here comes Barkley, and I believe this is the Mahakam Guard Hunt. Nope, it's the
Dwarven
because
Mercenary.
the Dwarven Agitator copied
Yep.
before. So yes, the Mercenary was still in the deck.
Because he had Skirmisher in hand, he was bound to get a proactive dwarf, not a reactive dwarf, which enabled him to go for Barkley here. Because otherwise, Skirmisher would have been really bad, considering the Kacper's entire board is filled with armor. So Skirmisher wouldn't really get optimal value there. Getting the Dwarven Mercenary out of the deck, thinning to enhance his chances of drawing into Shoop.
I do like Vadermaker as a consideration here, but that Dryad Brigade, again, we're talking about things that aren't in every single Shoop deck, but Game King being able to probably answer Vadermaker here no matter what with the Dryad Brigade. So there is that as far as going into this round and how Vadermaker is going to get that value.
He's going to have to pass here. It's too risky. He's only 2 points ahead after his highest tempo play. And Kacper cannot afford to lose card advantage against Game King here. Game King will probably drop, I'd say Panther, honestly. I'd say Panther is the least reliable card here. As Dryad Brigade can potentially disrupt Everyday Knight Elect. Like, it's the least valuable card. He hits Stennis. I would have hit Winning Knight, just, for BM points,
For style
honestly.
points?
Yeah, just take off its armor. Strip it.
Really embarrass it. Just really embarrass that knight.
Yes, exactly. Embarrass him in front of his friends. But
Delker's not a bad draw.
Game King's a good guy, so you have to not do that. Good for him.
So now I think you could make a case. Now there are 2 Thunderbolt potions, so you do get the extra blacklist. Well, I guess that's just we're not going to see Dijkstra. I guess we're just not
another game.
But potentially we're not. But potentially we're not going to see Shoop either. Yeah.
And people say that this deck, fits so consistently, but at the end of the day, card games are card games, and sometimes you don't draw that DJ.
I'm just checking the deck list. What the risk here was Kacper not mulliganing the Thunderbolt, and I believe he did play the Reaver Scout. He just probably didn't want to have a Kidweni Knight in his hand, which is 1 point worse. And it seems like. The muzzle also wasn't drawn by Kacper, so this is a 2 gold game from Kacper. Game King not able to find Shoop either, which is pretty important in the Shoop deck.
Hattori goes down, going to resurrect Barkley L, is going to pick up the Mahakam Guard from his deck.
It's a great start here from Game King. No Shoop, no problem.
We're looking at
21 points getting started.
21 silver chain for Game King. He does have the Dwarven Skirmisher, which tends to represent 12 points on average. Dryad Brigade for 9, and 2 power bomb cards right there. But Kacper's hand is not looking too shabby either. The question is, what will he have to do with Shani? He has several options with Shani. He could take a more safe approach. For example, combining reinforcements onto the Kidweni Knight. But the thing is, this is the first time Game King is playing this Scoia'tael list in this matchup. So Kacper does not know for certain whether Game King is running Shiru or not. So going Shani into Reaver Scout onto Kidweni Knight can be risky, as he could give him a Scorch.
It's true, potentially giving him a double Scorch because Ethna's still active, but he's going to go for the Kidweni Knight anyway. And I think this is just giving the extra body for the Knight Elect res if that's where Kacper wants to go for it. Perhaps he wants to res Stennis as well, because that's highly likely to grab the Kidweni Knight, as there's only 5 cards left in the deck, and I do believe it's Muzzle, Dijkstra, and the 2 Kidweni Knights. So I think it's guaranteed to get the Kidweni Knight from Shani in this situation here. The thing about Kacper is basically he has all the mental hurdles of not only playing around all the bronzes that Game King could have, but also playing around all the possibilities of Shoop and how Shoop can hurt him. Because at this point, it's it's a foregone conclusion that Shoop is in the deck, but not having it in hand is pretty crucial. I mean, that means that Game King isn't going to be able to burn down or duel a large unit here, isn't able to potentially draw a card or create a very hazardous long round. And I think as time goes on, Kacper could potentially draw a conclusion that maybe Shoop isn't in there, because, going for that card draw, and in this situation here, wouldn't this be an awesome time to try to go for that charm? If anything, Kacper you could make a case that Kacper could say, I don't think Shoop's in his hand. Because you go for that charm, and at worst you get the
I
card
think
draw.
that definitely, yeah.
I mean, you'd have to whiff 2 out of the 3. I think Game King might have tried to high roll that one, being up, being in such an advantageous position to begin with in this round. I don't think Kacper's playing around Shoop anymore.
It's hard to play around Shoop to begin with, considering all
there
the
is
different
that part
options.
too.
But yeah, no, that's a good point.
But I mean,
that definitely could give him intel, or at least give him the impression that he's not running that. As we see a Vettermaker onto Arthur's Thunder, I don't.
You could also say that gives him they also give him the sure information. You could say that was just like, make him have it, make him have the answer, make him have the best play, and when GameKing doesn't make it.
I think he's going Shani into Reaver Scout here.
Yeah,
I think he's going to try to utilize the Thunderbolt Potion to buff one of the Redeeming Knight, the Winning Knights, to make sure that he doesn't give his opponent a double Scorch. And I think, because otherwise, I believe he would have gone for Shani onto Redeeming Knight like now. Down goes the Skirmisher. I think that's what we're going to expect here. We may just see the Tormented Mage go down, buff up the Winning Knight and the entire Siege Drill basically, and then opt to go for Shani onto not Scout, sorry, onto Stennis. Because I believe that is his only, unless I'm mistaken here, I believe when it comes to Kacper,
it's the only thing that Stennis can grab.
It's the only thing, right?
Yeah, that's a 22 point play with Shani here.
He has a Thunderbolt Potion.
Oh, he does have a Thunderbolt Potion. Yeah, Thunderbolt Potion, 2 Kidwinny Knights, Muzzle, and DJ.
Okay.
So I believe that is just,
so
it's just going to be a 22-point play in his pocket, no worries.
Yeah, so he's going to set up a Shani Stennis then, 100%.
Going to go ahead and just, while he's considering taking the 9 for 9 18-point Selkirk here, thinking about what could I really be removing that could be better than this at this point. Just trying to get a better grasp of kind of where this round is going to be balancing out here point-wise.
Yeah, he's still 5 points behind, and the thing is, Kacper has, his Thunderbolt Potion equates to the power of the Bridehead Brigade, and then it's a Tormented Mage, which will be 11, plus a power Shani finisher versus Isengrim Outlaw and Ethne. I think, especially considering GameKing has a 5-point lead, it's looking really solid for GameKing here. I think
that so GameKing running Marching Orders and Decoy, not running something like Last Wish, which could secure him more gold, something that Kacper is doing. In this situation here, Marching Orders from Isengrim Outlaw can only provide so many points here, and the Bride Brigade is just a 9-pointer. So I think that Kacper plays at this point. I mean, then again, the Thunderbolt Potion is also just a 9-pointer.
What, does he have a good target? Oh, he just enabled a second. Wait, but he has no more dwarfs though, right? He has no more dwarfs, so that feels bad.
He's gonna go ahead.
Malena is risky though with double Thunderbolt Potion. With double Thunderbolt Potion, Malena is.
Gotta make him think.
Kacper can counter this. Kacper, he's gonna counter this.
He's gonna go right into it.
Yes,
right
he's gonna
in the
counter
middle
it
there.
with double Thunderbolt Potion.
And then he's gonna be able, he'll be able to buff up Vettermaker there.
That's gonna be only a 12-point Isengrim right there.
Oh,
that's really key.
That's the difference maker here. I mean, we saw the 9 and 9 trading with the Bride Brigade
could
and
come
the
down to
Thunderbolt.
this.
But Shani is just a punch, right? Shani's just so many points, 22 points. That's not trivial. That's just gonna flip over and be very underwhelming for GameKing right here. As GameKing is just thinking about his last play here with Ethna. Now Isengrim. Now hold on. Isengrim did not create. Oh,
but he's disrupting that. He's disrupting the Thunderbolt Potion onto the backpack, bringing the Vettermaker. Oh,
and then Shani. Yeah.
That's so huge. That brigade is so key.
That is a great play.
That is a fantastic play by GameKing. GameKing with the read, the 9, the second Thunderbolt, and threatening Kacper with a full 17 value Malena.
What a play. What a play here.
That's such a good play. That he called it.
Now, does Kacper still deny here? I mean, got to just kind of take an evaluation here. What is this really? Yes, the Knight Elect. Ask and answer.
My God,
flipping over nothing. Now here we've got Ethna versus a 9-point Thunderbolt Potion plus the ticking on the engine. This is going to be so close right here. Ethna's got the Elven Blade and a Recon. Recon is only grabbing.
I'm telling you.
Bride Neophyte, which has no buff. The Swordmaster, which only has 10 armor all over the board.
He's got him.
I just don't think GameKing has the options.
No, wait. How does he not have the options?
Well, I mean, he's got. Oh, he does. The Marching Orders was my mistake, my friends. Marching Orders.
Ethna easily takes
pulls
this.
Pulls the Swordmaster.
He won that game.
Here comes Swordmaster, I believe.
He won that game with the Bridehead Brigade play. I believe.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. He won that game with the Bridehead Brigade. That is so clutch for GameKing because it forced. I'm not sure if he exactly won it, but he did prevent Shani onto Stennis for the winning night, which was definitely more points. I'm not sure if it came down to that, But what a solid answer for GameKing, calling the second Thunderbolt Potion and getting the second win over kacper after that devastating loss in match number 1 over the deck that he was targeting.
Yeah.
GameKing is 1 win away from advancing to the semifinals of the end of Vintage Gwent.
Kacper, play the Brewer
movie,
Hoog
the
list.
tournament.
Just play the Brewer list, Kacper. I want to see that list. Okay, we're talking about the Shawnee play there. Now, Shawnee into the Night Elect with 2 ticks on the Night Elect, I believe was 16 total points. So he sacrificed only 4 points to stop Milena. So I think that was still correct. And
there it is.
There it is,
there
guys.
it is, boys.
All right, my friends.
And
one of my
Geralt.
favorites right here. One of my favorite lists. Well, it's a variation on one of my favorite lists. Actually, is a Siri Dash variant that has, just really titanic swaps with the officers. If you're able to play it, we're talking about the Island's going to go there. You do have insurance with the Elven
mulligans.
Scouts. Perfect. I mean, it's really great. You got Elven Mercenary that's going to grab those Blue Mountain Elites, and you got Sheldon, which is available from Brewer from Barkley. And then you're cruising from there because then your plays are just tempo and thinning. On the other hand, GameKing is going to go back in here with Vets as he's going to go for the match point. Vets versus Swapatel. Definitely not what I thought we'd see here in the first quarterfinals, but I am really happy to be able to cast this game, and I'm glad that Kacper decided to opt to play this, even if he may have thought that Full Test could have been a better matchup. But he is on the red coin, and this is a list that he wanted to do red coin things with.
So, for anybody watching here, you may be confused by the second card to the right of Kacper's hand.
Xavier.
That is Xavier. That is a dwarf. He's carrying, I don't know what he's carrying. I think it's a sack of something. And
I think it's game. I think he went hunting, and he's got the game there.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was a sack of potatoes with a couple of arrows on it, but actually that doesn't make as much sense as just, game. Yeah,
well,
he's carrying game, and basically what Xavier does here is he boosts himself by the base strength of the last dwarf played. So as you explained earlier when we were reviewing this deck, he can mulligan that away.
Well, he'll be able to fix it.
Away. Yeah.
Anyway, Sheldon is that dwarf, which makes
Sheldon
Xavier
is that dwarf.
a very reliable 19-point play.
Exactly. This deck, Brewer searches for Barkley Elves, which pulls Sheldon Skaggs out of the deck, and because of Sheldon Skaggs' 9 base strength, it makes Xavier a very reliable 19-point gold play.
Here's the bad news for Kacper here. I think the Coral and the Mandrake are just huge for GameKing, and he's just going to go ahead and just take that 20-point play right now.
Denied.
It's going to deny that right there. I mean, it doesn't stop. It doesn't prevent anything in the future, as there's no resurrection on the officers. Some builds that I toyed around with does get the officer back in round 3 because you're likely to thin enough that you're going to have a massive unit in your hand. But there's the row that Sheldon loves. Plus, of course, Eilernd coming out on that 5th elf, but Sheldon Skaggs dropping. Now, the thing is, Casper's going to want to get Sheldon Skaggs out of the hand before he plays it. Now, GameKing can't really answer this with any sort of massive disruption here, but he also can make an assumption, even though maybe this deck. I was talking to Radu Andrada this morning. She says that this is not a super uncommon deck, what Kacper is playing. I've never seen it in a tournament before. Also, I tend to very rarely run into it when I play Gwent. But GameKing can now get this information. He's seen the officers, he's seen the elites. You can make an educated guess that Sheldon is coming for you because the Sheldon play with the elites that get boosted on the move, moves all the units. It's just a massive play. I'm just trying to calculate that. Mogwai, take it away.
This is what I was expecting from GameKing here.
Yeah,
searching for the Borgfrog Hunter to shoot down one of the Blue Mountain Elites to disrupt Kacper's combo. The thing is, Kacper can't really go for the Dwarf chain here, as he does have Sheldon Skaggs in hand. So I definitely expect either Ryehead Officer or the Elven Scout to mulligan away Sheldon Skaggs. Hopefully for him not draw into Barkley Elves, as that would take another turn out of him, as he draws into Ida instead. And Kacper is 4 points ahead. Kacper's deck is basically Tempo, the movie.
I knew you were going to say it every time. I love it. I think that, so Sheldon,
unpredictable.
At this point, I think Sheldon is an 18-point play, considering the buffs on the elites, plus Sheldon's buffs for 5 units. And then, of course, you add the 6, 7, 8, 9 points from Brewer and Barkley. That's a pretty massive play right there.
And down goes the second hunter. He's denying a lot of value with these hunters. I mean, he's technically not, because they only move once, right? So in reality, like, well, it is.
It's really for the one move.
It's actually
you got the Bride Brigade, but generally, yeah.
It's weakening, like, because they get 2 buffs for when they're moved, right? So they're technically 5 points. But on top of that, he's also weakening Sheldon Skags.
Yeah, and I mean, this is your.
So it's more valuable than just hitting something for 5, definitely.
Oh, also the double body from Bruver and Barkley, I didn't consider in my calculation there, because you do get the extra body. So there is the 18-point Sheldon, but then of course you add Barkley plus Bruver plus the buff on the elite.
Oh my God.
So good. It's so good.
20-point
And it's just
lead.
Sheldon, you know, back in the day we used to call him Sheldon Scraps. You never saw this card in any of the iterations, but boy does he look good in this deck, and with Xavier's superpower. Mo Legion tipped me off about this combo just a couple weeks ago. It's really strong. Just being able to have 19 points now. Now, Xavier is 19 points forever. Nothing's going to disrupt that at this point.
Down goes the veteran.
Yeah,
for Game King. Game King is willing to go down -2 here to take control of the match. kacper can just continue to push, because even though winning +2 over your opponent, having your opponent win round 1 but having them go down -2 is really solid, winning on even is even better. And kacper still has many ways to push here. He has the Ryehead Officer, which can mulligan into either Ryehead Officer or Elven Scout. He has Dandelion Poet, and of course he has Savior as a 19-point play. So
and look at the deck. 6 cards left. This deck is hyper thin. Hyper thin. Eileron's flying out of the deck. Barkley's pulling stuff out of the deck. The elites, of course, you want to have them in deck when you play the mercenaries, because you're so likely to see it here. I mean, this is a pretty strong pass considering the power available and the fact that you are up a card. I mean, 19-point Xavier as a leadoff is pretty scary to compete with immediately. Game King is going to have to answer that.
Or even as a finisher.
And 19 points on Xavier is something that can't be Coraled. With Mandrake already being played, that's very important. Coral can take care of one massive officer should Geralt come back into the hand through the draw, or of course the Elven Scout, or one of the officers, and then reconning into the other officer. Like, the fact that kacper was able to preserve 2 officers in this round is pretty crucial, considering one of them is likely going to be answered if you're putting Game King on the best possible thing that he can have.
It's important to know Game King does run Renew, so even though Coral went down, Coral didn't go down, but he can utilize Coral twice. So if he opts to push here in round 2, then he can drop down Coral and then still reutilize her for round 3 through the likes of Renew here, as Game King does take round 1, but goes down 2 cards.
There's Elias.
As he draws Elias, which gets boosted by 2, going up to 12, and he mulligans it away, naturally, to get another boost of 2. So now he's 14, and if he draws it again, it will be 16. So, is that how you say it? Elias?
I say Elias.
Elias?
Yes. I really respect the apostrophe. Elias.
I don't respect it. I never thought highly of it.
Yes. Mogwai, enemy of punctuation. So the other good thing here is drawing the Igni and having the Bride Brigade. You do have that extra movement opportunity. So should Game King actually want... I mean, I don't know if Game King pushes. He does have Udalric. So he's able to get that card back, but he's always going to be at a slight disadvantage here, especially if Coral is important, maybe not having that last play. But with 2 Bride Officers to consider, it's probably going to be fine. But Coral not in the hand when it's needed. He does have Restore, so that's pretty massive. He's going to grab. He's going to. Yeah. He drops the Trisarch Bearmaster in the graveyard. He's got all his reses, every last one of them.
The question is, how far will Game King push here? I doubt he'll be able to out-tempo kacper to the point in which he forces an extra card out of him after having played his Spy. I just don't think that's going to happen. And it's going to be really interesting, because I feel like kacper's deck is just as solid in a short round, it seems, especially with the likes of Xavier, with a Ryehead Officer into Geralt of Rivia potentially as a last turn play. Geralt Igni obviously will be disrupted the shorter the round is, but if Game King does push him to that degree, he may be able to find value out of it this round. Even though Geralt Igni in general has a rough time finding home against Skellige veterans, especially a good Skellige veterans that doesn't player that doesn't line up, bears in one row.
But that's where the Bride Brigade comes in. You're going to get 2 bears right on the row.
Yep,
I think that's going to be a real risk for Game King. And the other thing is Kacper mulliganing away Xavier. I mean, 19-point card, pretty good to have in the hand at this point. 3 cards with 2 swaps in your hand, plus Dandelion Poet. Xavier is coming out. This deck thins to 0 reliably. It's just one of the more devastating parts of it. Not only do you have all these key pieces and massive 19, 20-point plays, being able to set up Ignis, and Game King is just going to go ahead. Now with Igni and the Bride Brigade in hand, plus Dandelion Poet drawing into a 19-point Xavier, another officer still available with Geralt in hand as a 20-point play. He needs Coral so bad. He needs to draw Coral very badly.
He does not have it right now. Well, we do see
Yavin
in his hand, but Yavin is something that he will opt to mulligan as he does draw into Elias there, 16 points.
Ooh, this is huge for Casper.
No Coral for Game King.
So huge for Casper. He's going to dodge Coral here and that's the other thing. Elias he's at 18, and you're going to get him.
He's going to get him 100%.
100%. Either you get it from Dandelion Poet or you get it from the swap. This is Casper. You know what? If this doesn't work out for him, at least he played the deck. The deck has performed exactly as I would hoped. Plus, we're talking about Tempo the movie. I mean, you got 4 gold cards in your hand, and he was able to make those Tempo plays in round 1 with the Sheldon Skaggs. Not having to expend any of his golds is huge.
So good for Casper.
I'm trying to think. Good. I would love to just kind of theory craft how this would go if Game King did have Coral when it's all said and done. But the game's not over yet. Casper with Yavin in hand also represents a great swap for the officer if he doesn't see an opportunity to play Yavin. But Geralt Igni just makes that much sweeter. 19-point Xavier dropping on the board right here. Maybe you've never heard that voice line before in your life.
I have no idea.
But I have a feeling, I don't know. This combo is pretty spicy, and you might see it a little bit more on the ladder. Just people want to try this one out.
That Vryhead Brigade is just going to make that Igni potentially hit 27 points. Just so good, and he could go for it now. He could go for the Vryhead Brigade now. What can Game King do to stop this? He
doesn't have to play the Bearmaster yet, but I mean, he's going to eventually play it, right?
I think he was hovering over the other one though. That's the thing, the 2 strength one. Obviously, he can preserve the other one, but he's going to opt to go for the Hunter instead.
Let's talk about Heim though. Heim isn't great, right? Heim isn't fantastic. The only way, actually, there is a way that he can dodge it. If he plays Heim and gets
Sheldon Skaggs, I think he's doing that. He's stacking everything in the melee row.
He's stacking the row.
He's stacking everything into the melee row.
It's not a guarantee though. 2 bears could still end up on a row, but he plays.
Why have you summoned me?
It's important to note though that Sheldon Skaggs is not guaranteed through Heim.
Yeah,
we have Elias, Aileron, Ida, Barclays, and Sheldon Skaggs.
Heim could be a real stinker, honestly. Heim could just get really nothing. And considering that Morkvarg and Udalric were both played, Heim into Skjal is not an option here. He kind of just has to go Heim for points and hope to get Sheldon, but Sheldon's just going to be isolated on the fog row at this point. And here, it looks like we're going to take a peek now.
Because he could get Ida as well. You go for Heim now. What would he get here? He does get Sheldon Skaggs, but he has Ida as well. What's more valuable here? Because Skaggs doesn't play around the weather.
Yeah, Sheldon is 16 points. Ida prevents, at this point with this many rounds left, only prevents 10-ish points. I think Sheldon is, or does he counter weather? He's going to heal up the bear potentially if he clears it, which means the 11 is going to be live again. Now here's the thing, you can't Igni a row when there's no place to move the bears, so there's as well.
That's true.
So it's kind of Game King taking 2 approaches here, making a board favorable for Skaggs if that was the best thing he saw. So this is, to me, if he's thinking about playing Geralt, then he's definitely not going to play Yavin.
Yeah, he's going to mulligan Yavin.
Or the thing is, with the Igni in hand, hold on.
But
he's going to thin to 0.
Wouldn't you play Dandelion Poet first? You draw a card with Dandelion Poet.
You still draw a card, yeah.
And then that way you guarantee that because you want to play Dandelion Poet before you play the Brighthead Officer.
Any last words?
You wanna make sure that when you mulligan away
Yavin potentially.
Yeah,
that you get the last card in the deck. Yes. Yeah, I guess that's the line of play here. Knowing that the 11s are more valuable, but honestly, Game King here, I love playing into the potential Sheldon Skaggs, but also potentially worried about Igni. But the thing about the list here that Kacper is running, Igni is not a sure thing. You haven't seen any movement outside of, well, no, there's been no movement. So the indication that, oh, here, now Kacper can do it now.
Yep.
Now, unless Game King wants to, like, is Game King can get out of it, is there like a way of, he would.
The quill is mightier than the sword.
Is not playing the riot off. Well, now Game King can fill the roll up. Yeah, there's the huge buff there. 18 points, 20-point Elias.
That is a big point.
How many cards does Kacper run in this deck that it's 20 plus or 19 plus points, let's say? Yeah, Riot Brigade to line up the bears for the threat.
He can hold on to that, though. That's the thing. And obviously, like, you don't want to swap anymore with the Elven Scout. He's going for it. He's setting up the Igni on the melee road. Double bear. 27-point Igni here. Game King is very threatening. He's 12 points behind already. If that Igni gets that value, I don't think he can come back from this.
Do you hit, I'm trying to think if there is, do you hit your own bear to save 6 points?
You can't hit it. It needs to be a soldier or a machine.
No, so I'm talking about the hunter.
Yeah, he's got it.
It's over. Yeah, he's gonna get the burn here. What a huge swing right here.
Wow,
massive.
25-point lead.
When you're looking at 30 points left in the hand at this point, it's pretty. It feels pretty good right there. Now, the Elven Scout isn't
dominating
fantastic.
Victory with Geralt of Rivia and Xavier, whatever your last name is, debut.
I do what I must.
He has a weakness for horned wenches.
I mean,
and he also does
who doesn't?
Kacper with the Swapatel victory. If nothing else important happens in this quarterfinals, that definitely happened. Kacper, thank you for bringing this deck and making it look so good.
Dominant
19-point Xavier, 20-point Officer, 20-point Elias. The Bruver into Barkley into Sheldon Skaggs, like 20 plus points all over the place. It's like it's Nilfgaard Handbuff-esque in its disgusting point plays. It's almost like it's just full of Siri Novas. Really unorthodox way of just putting points on the board. Just so many huge plays.
So efficient though. He
and the efficiency
like
on top
everything.
of it.
The deck was so efficient. The mulligans enabled it to be consistent. And going second, that deck proved to be devastating. And here we go. It is Northern Realms versus the tiny island of Skellige. As I hope some Skelligers aren't mad at me for saying tiny, but you know, it's Northern Realms is big. It's a big place, right? And here we go. Foltest versus Croc. It is mid-range. Just Foltest versus veteran Skellige here with Mandrake Tech. This is going to be very interesting how it plays out. We see Triss and Coral in Game King's hand. Muzzle and Shani on Kacper's hand right here. His hand looks really solid. The Germain lead, followed by Foltest here. It looks like he has pretty much everything.
Taking his time
needs.
though. Kacper does this a lot. He signals what he's thinking, and then he takes his time. You know,
he makes sure.
Every second matters here. You got to take your time. I'm not just saying take your time, be slow, but it's your time. You're given this time, and you need to plan ahead. These, you know, sequencing has always been important for Gwent now and in the future for sure. So always making sure that you're making the best play. Germain into full test is very standard opening at this point. Now Kacper, running into veterans here for Game King, he would have much rather run into Greatswords. When I look at a lineup like this, you've got Muzzle, of course, and of course, Greatswords, what Northern Realms is able to do is just develop stronger and more deadly engines with Knight Alex. And there are some variations that are even scarier with like siege supports where Greatswords just can't catch up. And of course, you have the resets with your Knight Alex. Removal with the double thunders in Deathmold and Vadermaker, but with veterans it's a little bit less reliable to get that swing and that disruption of strategy. Vets is one of the hardest strategies to disrupt because you are really just setting up for future at all times.
Yeah, you have no engines. You don't really care too much about your units once they hit the board. It has a lot of deploy effects and a lot of cards that just reach their full value upon game entry. So it's just not a disruptible strategy, and it's pretty consistent. And it also is a deck that has powerful carryover potential to the likes of veteran play. So Kacper's control cards here don't really make much of an impact. I think Weather Generation may be more favored. But most importantly, the Redeeming Knight Alex. The Redeeming Knight Alex are super key here. The way to punish a deck like Veterans is to have your own proactiveness. You know, be efficient, because they don't really handle that well. Game King does have the Borgvark Hunter, which can ping at the Radiating Elect, but we do see the Tormented Mage in kacper's hand, so he can pick it up and get that Thunderbolt Potion going on to heal the Radiating Elect and continue.
Setting up the muzzle maybe here? Setting up the muzzle on Morkvarg
Yeah,
maybe? Put the
I
weather
like
on
that
the road.
play.
Yeah.
I like that play.
Game King won't be surprised by muzzle. He's already seen it.
Yep.
Pretty great thing to
Fog.
grab. Pretty great thing to grab.
That is really
In
solid.
this matchup, it's the best, really. I mean, unless
You deny the carryover.
Yeah, it's
You enable the dry pass if you
get
want.
the carryover. It's not even this.
Yeah,
that you
exactly. You
stop
steal
it.
the
You
carryover.
benefit.
Like,
How can Game King stop this here? It's outside of just passing with a card up, but that's way too early. You can't pass on full test at this point. The engines are too strong. They're too scary.
it's interesting because muzzle is more of, it's clearly a consume tech, right?
Well, there's lots of applications.
And
great
also
swords.
like a great swords
Yeah.
tech, but
Mirror tech too
who
for the
would
Night
guess
Elect?
that this card would actually be relevant and useful against Skellige veterans? This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt really bad. The thing is, he is gonna lose value on that fog, but you don't
Yoink.
care. You steal the wolf.
My Morkvarg.
My Morkvarg, my carryover.
Now he can Coral Morkvarg, but I mean, kacper still took that away
That
from
still
Game King,
feels
right? And it's not great. I mean, especially if you're. I mean, the thing about. Like, full test has seen an evolution, right? You look at Gwent Open 6, no Night Elects. Challenger, Night Elects all over the place. Full test used to be less disruptible. One of the big things about the Vernon Roach version that we saw in Gwent Open number 6 is that it was favored by a lot of the players because it played very similar to veterans. You thin and you just set up and you don't really have that much of a disruptible strategy outside of the Blue Stripes scouts being killed for Reaver scouts. But now with the engines on top of this, maybe you have more likely of a Coral target to prevent a Shani res, especially if you only see one Night Elect. But I mean, with kacper running all the recons in the Last Wish and Stennis, he's going to find everything he needs. This full test list, I am surprised it hasn't won yet. This is kacper's third try with this list, I believe.
One of the most efficient
No
tournament
Dijkstra, right?
decks. I mean, it did fall a bit flat on its face in the Challenger due to Team Aretusa's lineup that was was designed to capitalize on this. But in this sort of environment, it is surprising to see Foltest here trying with his back against the wall, trying to get that win. But we do see so many good options here. Radiating Night Elects, which, like I said, are not they just really aren't disruptible here, especially with that Tormented Mage. He's hovering over the pass here, though. He does have the carryover.
He has the carryover, so he's protected on the blue coin, even though he's protected here.
He doesn't
on
have
the
a spy,
carryover.
though. That's the thing.
He doesn't have a spy, but I think that it's just one more way for him to get points.
I don't know if I like that pass.
It's
guess
a
he's
fair
worried.
Consideration, but I think that maybe you set Shani up. I mean, honestly, the long round is so strong. He hasn't played any of the engines yet. You're protected on the open pass, but I mean, even the open pass wouldn't be so bad because the long round is so great.
Yeah,
for kacper, he's got
trying to
Germain in the
understand
graveyard.
this.
He's got Germain in the graveyard for Shani. That's really good. His hand is awesome. I mean, just one more time, no Dijkstra is the biggest thing I can say about kacper's full
He has
test.
to hunt for a veteran here. That would be the most efficient play. He does get it with the recon there. Saves his Croc for a bigger tempo play. He could have guaranteed it with Croc, but he wanted to preserve that for the latter round. This is, I'm not sure I understand this pass from kacper. As he does deny the dry pass, but he's not running a silver spy. There's the DJ.
Finally.
He drew it. He did it.
I understand. I think the pass is fine because I just don't think Game King's getting his card back. I don't think he's getting it back.
He's getting his card back.
No, I mean beyond that part.
Yeah, but he gives absolute control to the Skellige player who can set up a very powerful short round 3. I don't know.
More powerful when you have Dijkstra in hand and 2 Kudwini Knights coming out to the party. I think at this point kacper's feeling pretty good. I think that finally trying Dijkstra, finally drawing it. Shani has decent targets. The long round is very hard for Game King to fight in with the Night Elects, and kacper is likely to play one of them just because it's such a good target for Shani if you desperately need it. Y'all is not great again because Udalric is in hand. So that means
wait, did this? Ooh, this feels bad. Wait.
Ooh, that's not good. No.
Oh no, he didn't get the. Ooh. Okay, yeah, this is great. I don't know why. I saw the board invert. This is fantastic. This is denies
the board was in behind.
Yeah, this denies the carry. That's exactly what you want to do.
I was looking at you too when they were doing this.
I don't know why I thought he had. Of course, it makes sense he has Morkvarg, right? But
Morkvarg being on the other side of the board in a Skellige matchup.
He's got to have to hit his own Morkvarg.
Moving right along.
10 out of 10 narration. There we go. Go me. All right, down goes the Hunter onto Morkvark, dropping it down to 2 strength. If he knocks it out again, he will deny the carryover for round 3.
Casper's just going to keep pace here. I think he's just going to make sure that he's ahead at all times. And you develop your engines always when you can afford to. At this point, he can exactly afford to. No Hunter in hand, but does have Spear Maiden if he wants to try to knock that armor off. But Casper is able to reapply that 2 times.
I would direct my hit at the Morkvark. You have the Silver Spy anyway, so you're not really too focused on tempo this round, but you do want to deny as much strength as possible from the opponent in the next round. So I think Spear Maiden onto Hunter is a reliable play here, but instead he's going to opt to go for a res onto a veteran to get a little bit of his carryover game going on here.
I'm taking bets for odds on a hero pass from Casper should Ulrich touch down after these engines tick for an entire game potentially, as GameKing tries to get
well, I don't think GameKing will
back.
put himself in that position, though.
I also don't think so. It's just I just imagine that if GameKing pushes this round, the point disparity is going to be high enough. If again, we haven't seen what Last Wish or Reconnaissance is pulling, but I mean between that and Stennis, I imagine we're going to see at least one more Night Elect ticking.
Ooh.
I mean,
bring over Coral here. I mean, he does have Renew.
Fine play.
I can do a great deal more.
Gonna adopt Coral right there. Gonna convert the big, strong Redanian Night Elect into a small toy.
Toyman.
Toyman, sorry.
Toyman.
Toyman.
Mogwisms. Hashtag Mogwisms. Casper's just going to try to keep pace. He can still do it. He can always do it with thinning as well. I mean, you'll take the Kidweni Knight, but he was definitely looking for. We would have liked the Reaver Scout to turn earlier, perhaps, but the Night Elect not showing up. Still lots of thinning options here. The worry, I think, for Casper now with 1 Kidweni Knight out, you really want Deekster to pull 2 Kidweni Knights when you have a power play. You have a power hand like Shawnee.
There it is.
And
Carryover denied. This is it, folks. This is the last game of this series. The winner of this matchup will go to the semifinals. Here we go. Down goes the Tormented Mage. Gonna thin out the last Thunderbolt Potion, but he's opting to go for the first Thunderbolt Potion instead. Casper barely keeping up with the tempo here. He does need to be careful. Obviously, GameKing is gonna be able to play the Ulderic later down the line, but GameKing not giving him that information and forcing Casper to make sure that he can catch up here, as this may be the term. The problem is the moment in which GameKing drops Ulderic is the moment Casper knows for certain, that he can play his lowest value resources, as he does not have to worry about being out-tempoed.
It affords the breathing room that Full Test is happy to have with a card up. Croc on Crate pulling a Trissarch Hunter at this point, which is a good res target when you get the buff on the Hunter, as opposed to the Veteran, because it's kind of like you get the extra carryover.
Gonna pick up the Maiden, drop the Bearmaster onto the graveyard as he drops Ulderic right there. Tormented Mage going down, hitting the last Thunderbolt Potion for Casper.
We're gonna see Stennis is, I mean, Casper probably does not want to play Stennis. Well, I mean, you could make a case. He's so far ahead. Stennis is going to represent after between Deekster and Stennis, you're getting your Kidweni Knights, I think, one way or another. Last Wish, of course. Shawnee is a res on Germain at the best. Here comes Stennis. There's the Night Elect. You're fine seeing this now because the Kidweni Knight is much better in the short round that Casper is likely to expect here, as GameKing keeps trying to bleed good stuff out of. Casper's just got too much good stuff. Finally drawing Deekstra.
Casper's late game is looking menacing as hell, but GameKing's is also looking really strong too. He's preserving his Croc on Crate, which will fish him, at this stage I believe he will fish him a Bearmaster, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, I believe it is a Bearmaster, as he's gone through his 3 2-Stretch Hunters, and he's already gone through all his Veterans as well. So that we're talking about over 20 points there with that play. I
think Casper has to Last Wish and try to get a Witch Hunter, because I think that's the only thing that's going to hurt him with.
Well, it depends on whether GameKing opts to push here or not. He may drop Triss. He may just drop Triss to renew her, or pass. He passes. Yeah. Here we go, folks.
So Casper
4 card versus 4 card round 3.
Casper needs to draw a Witch Hunter. Shawnee's a mage. I actually am I'm blanking on that.
No, Shawnee's not a mage.
No,
she's a medic.
Not.
She believes in science.
Yeah, blood and guts.
Weird spells
Reaver
and stuff.
Scout does enable Shawnee onto a
Bearmaster.
Dijkstra into double Witch Hunter would be really bad. I mean, Dijkstra's already been not coming through for kacper already. Finally in the hand now, just to potentially get clogged. The 9
gets the
cards of the
reinforcements.
9 cards, it is 3 Witch Hunters, Selkirk, well, there's the reinforcements.
Down goes the Kidway Knight here.
Making the
Scatter the lots.
it makes the Witch Hunter more likely from Dijkstra there by removing a Kidwini Knight
That's
from the pool.
dangerous though, because if he pulls 2 copies of it, I mean, Triss Telekinesis is a mage, so the moment Triss goes down is the moment kacper has that freedom with the. But the thing is, if he holds on to Triss to the very end, like
Coral
GameKing knows this.
Coral's mage too, right?
16 points. GameKing is 2 points over kacper.
Kacper's got to play Shawnee now and then play Last Wish to get the Witch Hunter, because also by playing the Kidwini Knight makes Last Wish more likely to grab Witch Hunter, and at this point between Coral and Triss, he's going to have to play a mage, so he's going to get the Witch Hunters. I think that's guaranteed. If you play Shawnee now, Shawnee into, the thing is you can't play Shawnee into Stennis because you might get the Witch Hunter early. You could play Shawnee into Germain and just go for the value. I think that's probably, or you could go Shawnee into the, or
That
the
would be
Reaver Scout
19
is-
point Shawnee. That's
Reaver
not
Scout,
a
I think.
20 point Shawnee.
Not a 20 point Shawnee, but you'll take it.
Old vintage Gwent. He's
man,
under, that's
Why would
risky.
you not wait for the mages?
Oh, that's
Why would you not wait for the
risky as
mages,
hell.
Kacper?
Oh, not punished. Kind of punished.
Kind of,
So's chaos.
but I mean, it's not the. It's
That's a 14 point Dijkstra. That is not good. So
I
okay,
mean-
so he
I don't like being too critical, but I think that you could have made a case that Last Wish or
yeah, I think
playing
didn't Last
Shawnee
Wish
there.
make more sense? I'm not sure. I guess Last Wish thins the deck more, so it enhances the chance to pull. But
No, but I mean, it's more so like, I mean, you can't, if you're putting GameKing on his other golds, which is Triss and Renew, then Renew on Heim potentially, but Heim, I mean, even Heim is likely to pull a mage between Vadermaker and Deathblow.
Rock, he is 11 points ahead of kacper with Triss and Renew as late
Selkirk,
game
not
plays.
bad.
20 point swing there
Oh,
for
man.
kacper, getting 9 points ahead of GameKing. 1 card left though. This is gonna be tight.
Oh, this is going to be tight, but I really think that GameKing's now got quite an edge at this point.
Yeah,
Triss and
that
Coral.
Renew onto Coral will represent a total of, I believe, 17 points.
Yeah, which I mean, in a situation where you don't have a definite
Triss
Coral
versus-
target, you'll take
yeah,
17 from
he's
Coral.
only 9 points behind when and he still has like 1 card over him, right? So GameKing making sure here. Let's see what he opts to sequence first. I think Triss may be this. I mean, no, because he knows Witch Hunters are a thing. So if the moment he plays Triss is the moment he gives kacper a mage to
I mean,
chain
that's
them.
but that's not. Shawnee's way more devastating. GameKing's got to put him on Shawnee here. 19 points is the best Shawnee can do, I believe. Well, no, if you grab
No.
Stennis is Stennis on the Kidwini Knight. Oh, also the Witch Hunters can come from Stennis as
Yeah,
well.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. This is not over, folks. It's not over. There's
Down goes Coral. Coral's a mage as well, so never mind. Both.
So here we go.
both
I
make it.
think. Yeah, I'm just gonna double check what's in the graveyard here.
Coral goes down. He has an 8 point lead. He needs a huge Shawnee here. Shawnee,
Just going
19
for the
point Shawnee
19
will
point
not be
Shawnee.
enough. Will not be enough. He's 11 points ahead, but this Triss will easily
Was
take
Stennis
it for
just better?
GameKing. What a series, so tight coming down to the last play. GameKing is going to be able to take the victory over kacper in a 3-2 matchup and advance to the semifinals. I believe. Wait.
Well, the reinforcement is
No,
live. Well, the
Wait, doesn't he have a Freya left?
The Thunderbolt ties it.
Wait, doesn't he
Is
have a
the-
Freya?
He has.
No, the Thunderbolt is tied. The Thunderbolt is
Isn't
15
he 9 points behind?
He's 9 points behind. The Thunderbolt.
Oh, Triss hasn't hit the board
Yeah.
yet. Sorry, Triss hasn't hit the board yet for the score, guys.
That's
We're
the safe
fine. We're fine.
You got freaked out for a second.
No, Triss didn't hit the board yet. The score wasn't registered at the 6 point. Man, oh man, what a series to get things started. GameKing once again, just like entering in Challenger number 4, this time going a great 5-game series, coming out on top this time. kacper bringing an awesome Bruverhuglis and getting a very stylish win. I love that Bruverhuglis. And of course, Calvit coming in, getting through on the soft targeting of Alchemy, but still falling short. The full test game, I'm gonna have to rewatch that one, but I think, you know, you could have made a couple arguments for different, different sequencing there.